Yo, it's Jared. It's been a long time. It's been about 5 or 6 months since I last made a video, but here we go. I have a very exciting game to show you. A game that I played in a chess tournament at my local chess club. This was round 3, board 2. I was playing the black pieces, so I'll flip the board. And I was playing Tim Pearce, who had the white pieces. And I am Jared Plain, playing the black pieces, and this game was played on the 12th of August 2013, and here we go. My opponent opened up with knight f3. I played knight f6, c4. So we have a reti, c4, I played e6. I should point out that the time control for this game was 90-30, so there were 90 minutes for the full game with 30 seconds of bonus time per move. e6, he played g3, d5. I'm just going to put a pawn in the center and contest the center, so bishop to g2, bishop to e7, b3. So far so good, it's all fairly normal. c5. So white is playing the traditional reti setup, and I'm playing a Tarrasch defense, which is kind of what I found out after the game, talking to one of the top players that we have at the chess club. He seemed to think that I was playing a Tarrasch. I don't really know the names of these things, but I guess that's what I was playing. If he says it is, then it is. Alright, so c5. He played e3. Interesting. Knight c6, just developing. Bishop b2. Castles, castles. Now I think here for a little bit. I think here for about 10-15 minutes. And I'm concerned about his bishop on g2, raking down here. And I decide to play a prophylactic move, rook to b8. It's not such a bad move. It's not the best move, but it's not such a bad move. So rook b8, he plays d4. Now we're talking after the game that possibly d4 was an inaccuracy, was an error even. But just checking with the engine right now, it doesn't seem that bad. Black is a little bit better in this position according to the engine, but that at this point is rather insignificant. So d4, I played d takes c, b takes c, and now I play a very interesting move in b5. And I'm just trying to open up lines. This bishop on b2 is loose, so if I get the chance, I want to capture this pawn, and he won't be in a position to recapture. Say if, I don't know, say if he does queen c2, this would be a bad move because of b takes c, and of course you can't play queen takes because then you lose the bishop on b2. So white is faced with a difficult position. According to the engine, the best move here is knight to e5, because this knight is loose, this knight is hanging, and after a line like knight takes e5, d takes e5, knight d7, it's retreating. Black is still slightly better, but we don't mind white's position here. But that's not what happened in the game. Knight e5 was not played. Rather, white played knight f to d2. Now, we talked about during the game, this was probably the largest, the biggest mistake that white made in the whole game, really. Up until this point, there weren't that many blunders, but this was probably the blunder. So I played b takes c4. And the best move apparently is just to move the bishop and, you know, hope to recapture the pawn next move, which looks like actually white will probably manage to recapture the pawn. Okay, but he played knight takes c4. and this runs into all sorts of problems. I played, or firstly, going back, something I failed to mention, this knight f to d2 move looks like a good move on the surface because it's guarding the c4 pawn, but it's also opening up an attack on my knight on c6 via the bishop on g2. So it looks like a good move on the surface, but tactically it fails. So I capture. Now there are lines here where we talked about after the game, maybe white should have played bishop takes c6, rook takes b2. Black is much better here, but at least white isn't down a piece. He's just down a pawn temporarily, but knight takes c4. The computer move in this position is rook to b4. And the game will keep on going with something like knight to e5, cd. And of course if you recapture this pawn then you just lose it. So bishop to f3, retreating the bishop, de, and knight to c6 with a fork. But of course this is very tricky. Black can just keep on taking pawns in this position, and even though black's going to be down an exchange at the end of this line, I would still much prefer to play the black side of this position. He has more pawns, he has an open center, he has two bishops, and this is going to be very, very good for black. So this is a sample line that the engine gives. This is not what happened in the game. Rather, when I captured on c4, he just recaptured with the knight. And this opens up all sorts of tactical possibilities. When I first looked at this position during the game, I thought, oh, this isn't so good for me. My knight is hanging, and he's got a really good knight on c4, which is guarding the bishop, and it looks like my plan has just fallen to pieces. It just isn't working. But it is working. I found the really good move, bishop to a6, keeping this knight hanging, but attacking this loose knight. So I'm counter-attacking his knight on c4. He played knight b d2, and I continued to attack this knight with knight to a5. He played knight takes a5, queen takes a5, and now I'm attacking the rook in the corner, and I'm also attacking the bishop. So it looks like white's going to lose material, but white has one move and one move only, knight b3, which he played, attacking the queen, guarding the bishop. So I played queen to b4, queen to b4, and he played possibly the other blunder. There were two blunders actually. First was knight f to d2, but the second blunder, which we talked about after the game, was rook e1, his next move. And now black to play and win a piece, I played c4. Okay, c4. He played bishop f1, pinning the pawn to my loose bishop, just trying to fight on. And now in this position, really the only blunder that I made in the whole game, I played bishop b5. Terrible. Terrible move. I'm now not going to win the piece. And I completely did not see this during the game. I completely missed it. And fortunately for me, so did my opponent. White also missed this move, a4. Attacking the bishop. Bishop takes a4, bishop to a3, attacking the queen, and my bishop on e7 is loose. So queen b7, and now the knight can jump into c5, and I don't win a piece. It's quite unfortunate, but this is the sample line. This is what would have happened. Bishop takes, let's see here. Yeah, bishop takes a3. Except that, of course, his queen is hanging, so I've done something wrong there. Queen takes bishop. Queen takes bishop. Bishop takes a3, and just rook takes a3, and it's an even game at best. Maybe white is even slightly better. So that was just terrible. These types of things just show me all the time just how hard chess is. And in this position here, black is just completely winning, but he needs to be very accurate. He needs to play bishop b7. I looked at this move during the game, but I didn't play it. I thought that it wasn't that good, but it's just perfect. Bishop b7 is just the best move. But I played bishop to b5, and white missed his chance to play a4 and instead played queen d2, thinking that my queen was loose, but my queen is guarded by my bishop on e7, so I just took the knight. C takes b, bishop c3, attacking the queen again. Queen comes back to d6. The bishop gets back on g2 because my plan was to play bishop c6. I played knight d5, centralizing my knight. He retreats to b2 with the bishop, and knight to b4. Best move is a takes b, but we'll find out that during the game I could have played b takes a. I could have played b takes a many times, but I just didn't play it. Knight to b4, bishop to a3, pinning. This pin is not such a problem though. I played rook f to c8, getting on the open file. Rook e to c1. So that always makes me happy to see that white would like to trade rooks when I'm up a piece. But I don't trade rooks yet. I play bishop c6, attacking the bishop. He plays bishop takes c6, rook takes c6, rook takes c6, queen takes c6, rook to c1. This is a blunder. Now, if you'd like to pause the video here, see what move I played. Actually, checking with the engine, the move I played is not the best move from a technical perspective, but you can still check and find out what move you think I played here. So just pause right now, and I'll give you 10 seconds, or you can pause the video. Okay, the move I played was b takes a2. And of course, if rook takes queen, I simply get a brand new queen, and I think I'm pretty much just winning here. Queen c1. I just trade queens. I'm still up a piece, and pretty easy to win. a5 now. So black's got no problems here. It just helps. This line just helps me to get pieces off. So he played bishop takes b4, bishop takes b4, queen b2, the final move of the game, and white tossed in the towel. I was looking at this position to see, do I have a knockout blow? Do I have a very, very good forcing move that just ends the game? And there is one, and it's, if I do say so myself, it's absolutely beautiful. So if you can find this move, I'll be really impressed. So if you'd like to pause the video, what move did black play that caused white to shake hands? The move I played in the game was bishop to f8, leaving the queen hanging and the rook hanging. Now this move just wins. Let's take a look at a couple of lines. Let's look at rook takes queen. Well, I just play rook takes queen. And my next move is going to be rook to b1 check, and then a1 queen. So rook a6, rook b1 check, king g2, and queen the pawn. End of game. So that's one variation. And the other line, now it's important to put the bishop on f8. There's no other place to put the bishop, because you need to calculate this line, queen takes rook. If the bishop wasn't on f8, this would be a check and white would be winning. But I've got queen takes rook check, and then I queen the pawn. And the only other move that white can make is to move the queen off of being attacked by the rook. So say the queen goes here, or then I just take the queen and I can give the check first, or I can just push the pawn and get a queen. If you move the queen here, then we can either play rook b1, which just wins, because if you trade then I get a queen. But the forcing line, which I like a lot, is just queen takes c1, queen takes c1, and then rook b1. Queen takes b1, and I get myself a brand new queen, and I'm up a queen, and end of game. Of course, the only other move for white is queen, say queen to a3 or queen to a1, but as I saw on the last line, black can play the same line, queen takes c1, queen takes c1, rook b1 with a pin, and black wins. So I hope you enjoyed this game. This is one of my best games, except for that bishop b5 move, of course, which was just a terrible blunder. But apart from that, I played a very good game, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Please leave any comments or questions in the comments section of this video, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care. See ya.